Hello everybody, Cousin Vinny Agnello, critically acclaimed author of The Devil's Glove, the book that we are reading here at Bedtime with Cousin Vinny tonight, on my new series for YouTube. Anyway, we're going to be reading about, 180 pages by the time we're through, The World's Greatest Tease, and I left off, I think, last night. I'm going to repeat a little dinky bit, but I left off on page 32, and here we go. Technology, my boy, that's what this is all about. But to answer your question, sure, it's hard to believe for me, but you got to remember, I was born into a world where there were no cars or planes or anything that your generation has taken for granted. So, Billy, what do you think about baseball in the future? I think it's going to be absolutely great, Michael. And I'm going to play a big part in it. What are you talking about? I'm talking about being signed by the White Sox. They gave me a minor league contract, Billy gloated. You're kidding me, right? No joke. I'm supposed to report to some team called the Longview Cannibals. That's one of their C-class farm teams. They play in the East Texas League. I leave next week. Considering the enormous amount of money they're paying me, cannibalism might just turn out to be a viable option, Billy joked. Seriously. Speaking though, can you believe it? I told you this was going to happen. Well, congratulations, Billy. I know this is what you wanted and you worked mighty hard to get it. I'm very proud of you, kiddo, Michael said while fighting back his tears. Billy saw Michael's eyes well, and that was all the catalyst needed to bring about his own emotions. As he fought back his tears, he pledged, even though I'm going to be far away, I'm going to come back and see you as often as I can. I'm going to miss you, Mr. Mike. For the first time in his life, Michael truly started to feel like he was getting old. The boy he raised for the last 8 years was now a man. He lectured, I don't want you to worry about visiting me. You got enough things to occupy your mind with other than worrying about finding time for me. I'm going to be just fine. I want you to go to Longview, wherever that is, and give it your all. Go down there and find out how much you really like the game. We're talking about your life, my man. So you go down there and decide if that's what you really want. I'll come down and see you as often as I can. I just know you're going to do really well, Billy. And if for some unknown reason you decide that it's not your cup of tea, well, then there are plenty of other things you can do with your life. So don't sweat it, kid. You hear me? Billy acknowledged Michael's thoughts, but his words were never given full credence. Michael realized that Billy was living a dream, and as long as there was clear sailing and cloudless skies, he would continue to climb that same mountain. Michael knew that the only thing that ever changed the course and direction of dreams was adversity, and he knew that Billy had never tasted the kind of adversity that he would be force-fed in the minor league baseball system. He knew that professional athletics had always been a precarious type of existence, especially for those athletes who lived on its fringes. He also knew that everybody in baseball's minor leagues was hanging on by threads for their very existence. The most prevalent fact in professional baseball is that if you don't cut it, you certainly will not be hanging around very long. The competition has always been fierce, and if you happen to fail, there's always somebody new who's anxious to take your place. Michael also knew that it wasn't his business to discourage Billy from pursuing his dream. He only hoped that his words would carry some credence with him in the event that in the long run, circumstances didn't work out for him. Michael reached into his jacket pocket and handed him a gift that the young man would treasure for the rest of his life. Billy's eyes lit up in disbelief as he gazed at the autographed baseball of the 1932 World Champion New York Yankees, which now rested firmly in his palm. The memory of his haunting smile on that occasion brought Michael out of his delirium. He stopped shoveling dirt for a moment so he could compose himself, but his mind kept wandering back to how this tragedy could have taken place. Then he recalled the change the boy made when he finally, after 9 long years, got called up to the AAA Hollywood Stars. From listening to the kid, you'd have thought he had made it to the major leagues. He was over the moon because he was now on the doorstep of making all his dreams come true. Michael got a taste of Billy's delusions of grandeur when he went to Los Angeles, California to see the boy play. He remembered visiting the boy in this little room that contained a wooden desk and a single bed. It was located in a dormitory-type facility. Michael recalled having to walk down a long hallway to use the bathroom, and while there he noticed a public shower area. It sure wasn't living high off the hog, but that didn't stop Billy from creating his new facade. Maybe it was the movie stars who attended the games, or the glitz and glamour of Hollywood itself. But he believed he was on his way to the major leagues, and he was bound and determined to improve his image. He was going to stand out. While Michael sat next to him on his bed, Billy informed him of all the new changes he was implementing. Billy proudly displayed his new green leather cleats and then opened a drawer to reveal his new pride and joy. It was wrapped in expensive tissue paper that Billy excitedly pulled away to reveal his newly dolled up infielder's mitt. "Look at this, Mike. I had an artist friend of mine design this for me. All the scenes were created through dyeing the leather. See the baseball diamond in the dugout? Look how intricate this work is. It's an absolute masterpiece." "So what do you think?" Billy asked anxiously. "You want my opinion?" "Sure, fire away." "Well, the shoes are rather snazzy, but I'd lose that glove. It's hideous," Michael stated with heartfelt honesty. "No, it's not. It's just different. My artist friend put in a lot of work creating that design, and quite frankly, it's an attention grabber," Billy professed defensively. "I won't argue that point with you, but my question is, do you really want that kind of attention? You didn't see Babe Ruth do that, and you certainly didn't see Lou Gehrig ever wear anything gaudy," Michael pointed out. "It was a different day and age. They were old school. I want to be from the new school, a trendsetter, like the area I'm living in now. I want to stand out. I don't want to get to the major leagues and just blend in." "Well, if that's what you're trying for, you've succeeded. But you're not at the show yet. Don't you think you're putting the cart before the horse, so to speak?" Michael asked, puzzled by this new ostentatious behavior by his dear friend. "This is just a pit stop before I get to the show, Michael. It's a done deal. I didn't come this far to be mired down here," Billy said with fervor. But unfortunately, mired was what he was, Michael thought, as he stopped digging and stared sadly over at the makeshift body bag. Billy had started his celebration prematurely, because the curse of being a left-handed infielder had earned him a demotion the very next season. It would cost him another 4 years playing for Double-A Memphis. Michael took a brief rest and realized that although it was going to be painful, for his sanity's sake, he was going to have to focus in on his observations of the boy in the recent past. Only these recent memories could possibly hold a clue as to why Billy committed suicide. He figured the best place to start was when he began playing really well in the minor leagues, since that was so atypical of him. He put his shovel down and stared in bewilderment at the grave he'd been digging. To him, looking down into that hole was like looking into the abyss, and his mind wandered away once again. He recalled the phone call he received from that photojournalist Billy had befriended while playing for the Double-A Memphis Chickasaws. The photojournalist, whose name was Eisen, had told him that Billy was acting very strangely and he was totally not himself. The conversation started to replay in his mind. "Why are you calling me and telling me about this?" Michael asked. "Because Billy told me you're his closest friend." "That's right. So what seems to be the problem?" "Well, I don't know if you know it or not, but Billy's always been a very popular player around here. And lately, he just hasn't been so popular." "That doesn't seem like much of a reason to panic. Did you ever think that the boy might be just a little bit discouraged? I mean, he's only been kicking around the minor leagues for close to 14 years now." "Believe me, I've considered that possibility. But there's something strange about him." "What do you mean?" "What I mean is that he's changed. Drastically changed. It's like he's two different people entirely. Don't get me wrong. He's still flamboyant, and I'm sure he always will be. The team should have left him in California. He was much more suited for the Hollywood Twinks than here. He still keeps that same persona with the green glove and the flashy shoes and everything, but lately he's been just plain selfish and overbearing. He used to be everybody's friend around here, but not anymore. What I'm trying to say nicely is that I can't stand him anymore, and I never thought I'd ever say that about him. It's like he's some kind of imposter. He looks the same, but that's where the similarity ends. He's no longer happy-go-lucky. He's like some kind of monster. It's almost like he's possessed. I think if you polled his teammates, they'd say the same thing about him. He's become an outcast down here." "Well, all I can say, at least from what he's told me, is that things couldn't be going any better for him. He's really having a great season." "Well, that's true statistically speaking. But what I'm telling you is that his whole nature's changed. He went from being the rah-rah guy to the voice of doom and gloom in the dugout. Many of his teammates are accusing him of putting hexes on them. The kid is literally in a fight every other day now. They're all probably just jealous of him. The kid's having a banner year and just might possibly, finally, get a call-up. And they're having a rough time with it. I mean, Billy has kept me informed of the stat sheet down there. And from the looks of it, he's the best player they've got. He's the reason they're soaring to the Southern Association title." "Well, you can think what you want. I just wanted to talk to you in hope that you might possibly talk to him." "Well, I'll talk to him. Kid's probably just going through a phase. I'm sure he doesn't mean any harm. It's just that the kid's been through a lot. Listen, please do me a favor, and don't tell him that I talked to you. We were real good friends before, and maybe if he snaps out of this, we'll be friends again. You got my word on it. Thanks for the phone call." Michael thought for a moment that this behavior change in Billy was his way of reaching out for help. He couldn't bear to think that he'd somehow ignored the telltale signs of imminent mental illness. He then remembered the startling conversation he had with the boy when they discussed the matter. He visualized himself with Billy at that roadside diner after watching Memphis lose to the Chattanooga Lookouts. Billy had an outstanding game that afternoon, but one player does not make a team. The rest of the team put forth a pathetic effort. Billy had 8 chances at third base and did not make an error. He even made a barehanded play on a bunt down the third base line. Not an easy chore for a left-handed third baseman. He had to run past the ball and jerk his body around in an unorthodox manner to make that throw for the putout at first base. Making things even better for him, his hitting was exceptional. He had 3 hits and 4 times at bat, including a long home run over the center field fence that accounted for the only 2 Memphis runs. Michael, there's rumors going around the clubhouse that I might be brought up to the show soon. I certainly can understand that. You're hitting the damn tar out of the ball, kid. And your throwing accuracy is uncanny. What's got into you lately? I don't know. My fielding just improved. I'm finally staying down on the ball, and my throws, like you said, couldn't be any more accurate. It's like my vision is totally improved. I swear I can read the laces